like I constantly felt like the DJ was like hiding in the back, just like,
Yeah.
well, don't look at me. Don't notice that I'm still here, please, because I don't want to get fired.
Right.
Like, you know, these bands try to fit into a mold rather than just following through with what their vision is.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is just the way that labels talk to you about your music and try to follow whatever's going to be the next big thing.
Yeah. That's just the way the music industry was, basically, kind of, in a way.
Yeah, and the thing too is, I mean, if you look at ska, even now, like it's and especially now, I would say, it's a subset of the larger musical world. So you have all these different types of bands. When you have ska, you basically have all these same type of bands, but in this smaller circle.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because if you think about it, you know, my band and Half Past Two sound nothing alike.
Yeah.
But we're both ska bands because we both incorporate horns. We both have that up tempo thing happening. Mm-hmm. Other than that, like, I mean, like Tara and I are like super good homies, but our bands don't sound similar at all. Like, we're a hardcore band and they're like a pop band. Right. So, you know, it's funny because we all get lumped together just because we decide to have that that little extra flavor. Which it's basically like saying, it's basically like if you were to say the 5 food groups are, you know, this and garlic.
Oh, right.
Right? Like if you were going to say, oh, every food with garlic in it is garlic now. Yeah. Like, you know, every type of music that has a horn part and a upbeat is now ska.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it is, but at the same time, there's a lot more to it than just that.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, I completely agree with what you're saying. Like, I find it funny myself, like, online in the whole, like, ska community, like, you know, whether it's Facebook groups, Instagram, or just wherever it is, everyone knows about each other and everyone's, like, plugged in. But you take someone that, you know, like, as you're saying, doesn't listen to ska, doesn't really care for ska, has never heard of ska, or, you know, of course they've heard it, but they don't know what it is. It's like, you know, like, okay, for example, the other day I was talking to somebody and I was asking her, you know, have you ever listened to ska music? She's like, what is that? Like, is that music from Scotland? That's literally what she asked me. I said, no, it's not music from Scotland. Let me show you. And so I had to play her bands, like, you know, like mainstream bands, you know what I'm saying? I had to kind of like walk her through it. She was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is kind of like running music. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like funny to hear, you know what I'm saying? Like the perspective of someone that isn't in the know of what, you know, ska music is, you know what I'm saying? So I agree with you. It's like, you know, everyone in like, you know, the ska universe, if we want to call it that, is definitely like in like this little like bubble, and everyone outside of it, like, I don't know. It's not so, I mean, today is different because, you know, like the way that music is, like you can have all these different like subsets, as like, you know, kind of like how you're saying of music genres, and everyone can operate in them and be successful in them. But I feel like, you know, like especially if you're bringing people from the outside, you kind of have to give them like a crash course. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I mean, the cool thing I think about it now though is I feel like rather than it being our weakness, it's going to end up being our strength, because it's allowed us all to network and to kind of find like minds where, you know, when I was a kid, you would go see a show and you would get like an industrial band and a hardcore band and a ska band and a punk band all in the same show. Right. And I don't feel like you really get that anymore. Like hardcore bands play with hardcore bands, pop punk bands play with pop punk bands, and ska bands play with ska bands. But now I think the interesting thing in there is going to be, you're going to get a show where it's going to be like my band, the Best of the Worst, Kill Lincoln, and Catbite. And in that, you're going to have a hardcore band, a like spaz out, like breakdown band, a band, you know, a power pop band in Catbite, and like a kind of new pop punk with breakdowns in Kill Lincoln. I don't know if that's the best description for them. They're better than that, but
yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. It's like,
you see what I'm saying? Like you're going to end up with like a varied and an interesting show, but it's all going to be tied together under the banner of ska. Whereas, if you go see some Ramones pop punk bands, they might all be great, but 2 bands in, your ears are going to be done because you're going to be like, I've just been hearing the same thing all night long.
Yeah, definitely.
So I really feel like once shows are able to start up again, I think you're going to see some real flourishing in this community, especially, and I think also because we've all embraced the mindset of that there's enough room for all of us to succeed. And somebody who might like my band or might like another band, they're gonna find the band that they like at that show.
Of course, yeah.
Like if like somebody, let's say somebody comes out to see 2:30 and they bring a boyfriend that likes hardcore and we play. Like that boyfriend's going to be like, oh, this is sick. Like I can dig on this hardcore band, and my friend that brought me can dig on 2:30, and it's all under this banner.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome to me. Like that's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah. I think it's funny. It's like I saw a meme the other day. This lady that I follow, she posted it. She was it was like a meme. It was like when COVID is over, starting to sound a lot like, oh yeah, he'll change, because it's like it's you know what I'm saying? It's like it's like that joke of like it's never gonna happen, But I think like when you're saying once shows start happening, the ska scene has been like collaborating with each other so much throughout this whole quarantine. I just I hope that energy continues, you know what I'm saying, into like real time once shows are able to start happening again,
Yeah, I mean, I really think it will because, I mean, at least from my own perspective, like coming into like 2016, we did the Link 80 reunion show. And I knew that we weren't going to do that band anymore after that. But at the same time, I was like, damn, I miss playing this type of music. I miss this energy. And this is what I know. This is what I came up doing. Imagine, I don't know, did you go to college, Alex?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What did you major in college?
Political science.
Political science.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're moving towards a career path that involves that.
Yeah. I mean, my goal is to go to law school, but
all right. So you're on the course. You have an idea of where you're going to go.
Yeah.
So for me, college was ska punk. Like I joined Link 80 at that formative years when I should have been doing school if I was going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I have all this knowledge of how to do this thing, how to run a band, how to do this and that and the other. Society tells you, oh, throw all that away. Now go have a bullshit job that has nothing to do with what you've done for all these years. So for me, like it just in 2016, it gave me this realization that like, damn, like I know how to do this and this is what I want to do. And I've been telling myself I can't because other people told me I can't. Not because I said I couldn't, but because other people said, oh, you got to only do it with these people or this or that or the other. So for me, it was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do it on my own terms. I'm going to figure out how to do it for myself. And it's been great. It's been awesome to get back into something that meant so much to me and not just be on the sidelines being like, oh yeah, I did that at one point. And now I just do this.
Something else and all that. Yeah. Yeah.
It's easy to forget that you're the same person you were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You're always going to be the same person. And so to try to claim that like a thing has run its course and now you're this new thing, that's not how it works. Like, you do this life one time. You start at a point and you end at a point. And it's all the same thing. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah. So, diving into Omnigone, like before the Bad Time Records project, like I noticed you guys had like it was like a 3-song like EP in that same year that you dropped the record. It was in March, I believe, in 2019. It was the one with had Obituary, it had Stitch in Time, and Burn It Down. Were those was that like 3-song project kind of like the catalyst that led to like linking up with Bad Time Records to make No Faith, or was that just kind of like an appetizer and all of that was already in process?
No. So when I decided, it took me from 2016 to 2019 to get motivated enough and to get my head into the idea that like I can do this.
Yeah.
And So Dessa used to play at a venue in Oakland all the time called iMusicast, and that venue is no longer around. But there's a recording studio attached to it called Soundwave.
Okay.
Not Soundwave. Excuse me, Skyline Studios. So that spot is run by my friend Brian, and he does a recording class out of there. So I've utilized that over the years to go in and do free recording.
Okay.
So that was actually how Narboot started. Brian hit me up for a band.
Yeah.
And so I think on a Monday he hit me up. I think I sent MySpace messages to Aaron Carnes and my friend Bob, who's in Shinobu, about recording. On Tuesday we met up and wrote 3 songs, and then on Wednesday we went in and recorded the songs. And that was the beginning of Narboots. Okay. So I knew that I could write and record songs quickly.
Nice. And
so I used that same idea with I hit up Brian when I knew I wanted to do this. I was like, let me know when there's a window when I can come in and record. I asked Barry if he wanted to do it. He was like, yeah. I asked Reese, who's Ryan Noble's younger brother, if he'd play drums. He was like, sure. Yeah. Came down to the studio, and we hadn't even had a chance to practice before we got into the studio. We just came into the studio, and I said, here's the parts. Let's just hammer it out. And we hammered out 3 songs in like a 3-hour session. Okay. And my only idea for this was just that after the Link 80 reunion, I was like, I want a ska punk band. Like, I want if a friend's band does a reunion or comes through town, I want to be able to play that show. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm going to have a band, I need to just have songs. I need to have a recording. So it was actually the Siren 6 did a reunion. They played the Glass House down in Pomona, and they played Bottom of the Hill up here. And I had actually written a note in my notebook that said, record a 3-song EP, ska punk EP by this date, or never think about it again. Because in my head, I was like, I want to have this EP done or at least recorded by this date so that I could have it at the show. And if somebody says, well, Adam, what are you up to? I can say, I have this band. Yeah. I actually missed the date, but I did it a couple months later. Yeah. That was the catalyst for it. Okay. And so then I did that 3-song demo, and it went so well that I found out about District Recorders, which is the Atom Age's recording studio, part owned by Mike Park in San Jose. It's really cheap to book an 8-hour session there. So I just grabbed a bunch of friends. I grabbed Brent Friedman from We Are the Union. I grabbed Justin Amons from Kitty Cat Fan Club. Mm-hmm. And I grabbed Aaron Carnes, formerly of Flat Planet, also of In Defense of Ska. Yeah. and Barry. And we just went in the studio, and we would just put up big pieces of paper, and we would just write out the chord progressions, play the song a couple times, go, okay, I think we're ready, hit record, bust out the song. Sound good? Done. Move to the next one. And I think we knocked out something like 11 or 12 songs in like an 8-hour session. Nice. And when we were done, Brent flew home, and then he messaged me a couple days later. He was like, what are you going to do with these recordings? And I was like, I have no idea, man. I'm probably just going to put them out as like EPs online, like just Bandcamp. Yeah. I didn't know if anybody would be interested. I just knew that it was entertaining to me. It was fun. Mm-hmm. And he's like, why don't you hit up Bad Time about putting them out? Mm-hmm. And I was like, would he want to do that? And meanwhile, on the other line, he's got Mike Sosinski, who I've met briefly before this. Yeah. And he's saying to Mike, I'm doing this band with Adam. It's coming out really good. Do you want to put it out? And he's like, I don't know. Would he want to do that? And so, I just got to talking to Mike, and it ended up working out, and we were able to put out an album. At first I was like, oh, do we have enough songs for an album? And it turned out we did. Yeah. I recorded enough stuff that we were able to, put it together. So, I mean, I'm happy that it came out, and I'm happy that we have that album, and I'm stoked on it. Yeah. But I'm really excited for whatever we're going to end up doing next, because I feel like we have a little bit better handle on what the band is and what we want to accomplish with it. Definitely. And how the band works. Like, beside the band just being Barry and I, like other than that, it's kind of open season.